We have some devastating news in the world of football this morning. Diogo Jota has passed away. The Liverpool and Portuguese national team forward died in a car accident in Spain that killed him and his younger brother, André Silva. Jota's tragic passing came just a month after he played for Portugal in the UEFA Nations League final and won that title, and came just less than 2 weeks after he married his longtime partner. His brother, André Silva, was a forward for Portuguese second division side, Penafiel. Jota was just 28 years old. His brother André was 25. For more on this tragic news, we are now joined by CBS Sports Premier League correspondent James Benge. And James, you've been covering this story since it broke early this morning. What do we know at this point?
Yeah, I mean, devastating, shocking news. What we know is that Diogo Jota and his brother André Silva, about 12:30 last night, Spanish time, in the town near Serie, Zamora, were involved in a car accident. Their car was attempting to overtake another, and then the tyre burst on their car, subsequently swerved off the road and caught fire, and both Diogo Jota and André Silva were pronounced dead at the scene. Since then, of course, tributes have flooded in from across the world of football. A shocking, remarkable loss that no one could have imagined.
Hey, James, what's going on in England? How are people talking about this tragedy, especially in Liverpool, that it's a club that's not foreign to unimaginable loss?
Yeah, that's such a good point, Nico. This is a club that's really struggled with tragedy, and what felt like one of the happiest moments and one of the most joyous summers in Liverpool for a very long time, celebrating that Premier League title where Jota was so instrumental. This loss has come like a complete bolt from the blue. And I know the sort of real feeling for myself and other people in England, seeing those reports trickle in this morning. You always hope for 10 minutes or so that something might prove you wrong, but right now you can see those pictures already. The tributes are flooding in for Jota at Anfield. Hundreds of fans making their way there, and that will soon number in the thousands as well. It is a complete bolt from the blue, and a really painful moment for football as a whole. A wonderful player, and I think also a wonderful representative for the game, both on and off the pitch. His hard work, his passion, his commitment to developing the women's game as well. There's many wonderful footballers in England, and Diogo Jota was one of the good guys. The same, I can't say I know as much of André Silva, but it's a devastating tragedy. It was such a happy time for Jota, as Ali mentioned there, with the success in the Premier League, the success in the Nations League, and then one of the happiest moments in anyone's life, getting married. So it really hurts, and football in this country is in mourning right now, that's for certain.
James, you just touched on it a little bit, the impact that he has had across the sport with the club, even his outreach outside of just football in the community. But now, as we're seeing all these different tributes come in, what really does that say about his reach across all of Europe?
I have to say, I love watching Diogo Jota as a footballer, and I don't think I'm alone in that regard. I think he speaks to an awful lot of qualities that we want to see in young men in this sport. Beautifully, brilliantly talented. I remember seeing some games he played in the Championship for Wolves, and it was incredible how much better he was than everyone else on the pitch. But he allied that talent with work rate, with real commitment to doing everything for the team and being a team player. And you see that in the tributes from his teammates in the Portuguese national team, from how Liverpool supporters, Wolves supporters feel about him. I think sometimes it's not just the club you're at, it's the club you leave behind. And guys like Cristiano, Ronaldo, Rafael Leao, all his Portuguese teammates that have been playing tribute, as you can see there, they all have played with some of the best footballers in the world, and Jota ranks among them for talent and also just for work ethic and commitment. It's why he was universally loved. I never, ever heard anyone say a bad word about Jota when he left Wolves, when he joined Liverpool. A phenomenal footballer, a phenomenal man, and that makes the loss all the more devastating.
James, of course, coming off of that Premier League title with Liverpool this last season, the third trophy that Jota was able to win with the club, how would you just put into words his impact at Liverpool from a footballing standpoint?
Oh, it was brilliant and immediate. Jota was placed when he joined Liverpool in this really challenging position. He was the guy to break up the Fab Three, the front line of Firmino, Mane and Salah. And he did that, and he carved a sort of place in the hearts of the Liverpool fan base. I remember Jürgen Klopp said he was the perfect player for Liverpool to sign, and that was pretty indisputable when he took to the pitch. He gave you a bit of everything as a footballer, a great poacher, could combine, could play anywhere across the front line. And I know that sort of almost these qualities feel a little bit more insignificant, but I think it is worth celebrating Jota, the footballer. He made Liverpool a better team. Crucial moments in that title race as well. The last goal he ever scored was classic Jota, that burst, that intelligence to find space and clinical finishing ability. Wonderful man and a wonderful footballer, and the Premier League will be a lesser place for not having Diogo Jota in it.
Yeah, James, he had this comeback ability, especially after injury, right? During his Liverpool career, he had a couple of precise injuries that kept him out of play for a long time, but he always came back to carve out a pretty important role at Liverpool. He missed the 2022 World Cup in Qatar because of injury. It was a lengthy one, but he was able to come back. The last goal he ever scored in his career, like you mentioned, was against Everton. And I think it speaks incredibly about the human that today I was listening on the radio in England, that even Everton fans are paying tribute. It's like Merseyside has come together in order to honor this footballer.
Every fan base, Everton fans, I have to say Arsenal fans, because he gave them so many sleepless nights and sleepless days. And I mean, you know, it's worth sort of celebrating that side of him, that he really was a player that you dreaded to play up against if you were the opposition, because, you know, going back to what I said before, he just had that complete package of, he wouldn't sort of sit out of the game. He wouldn't float. He would always be frustrating you if you're an opponent. If you're his teammate, he'd always be making a run. And Nico, I think it's really right as well to highlight the sort of work ethic of how he came back from challenging moments. This was a sort of, it's never easy being a centre forward for Liverpool, a top elite team. You're going to miss chances and you're going to have setbacks, and the standards are so incredibly high that sometimes you won't live up to them. All you can do then, I think, is work to hit them next time. And Jota did that. And of course, you know, as dreadfully, I mean, it is dreadfully sad that this is the end point, because a phenomenal footballer that was really just in his prime and delivering and having so many happy moments. And it feels all the crueler that you know, life has been robbed for him and his brother at what should have been, and I'm sure was, one of the happiest times in their life.
Yeah, and his young families, 3 young kids, recently married. It's tragic enough what happened, but when you factor in just the timing of this, the highest points of elation that you can experience at times in life, met with the most tragic and unfair, unfortunate things as well. You talked about, you know, some of the nightmares that maybe he would give to other fans, and of course for Liverpool fans and Portugal national team fans, some incredible, happy, memorable moments as well. No doubt, by any stretch, this is a nightmare for everybody. It transcends the world of football. This is where the soccer side of things, the football side of things, goes to the wayside. And that's also why we're seeing now, James, that, you know, in the women's Euros, some moments of silence will be held. And I'm sure this is just going to be the beginning of quite a few tributes and moments of respect paid to the life of Diogo Jota.
Yeah, so there will be moments of silence on Thursday and Friday's games, and I believe today Portugal are playing Spain in the Women's Euros, and I'm sure that will be an incredibly emotive moment for those players that take the pitch. It's hard to know and too early to say what tributes there will be from the clubs that both Diogo Jota and André Silva represented, but I am certain they will be profound. And one thing I would say is I think they'll extend to almost every club that they played for. One thing that really struck me was the Wolverhampton Wanderers fans and how much they loved Jota. And sometimes it's hard to love the guys that leave you behind and move on for other things. But these guys deliver such special memories, and footballers in particular, they bring joy to millions. And I'm running out of things to say, I have to admit. James,
in Liverpool's statement, understandably so, they kept it very brief and won't be making a further comment at this time. Have you heard anything, or are you anticipating hearing anything about, you know, when this might be addressed in a larger way?
Honestly, it just does feel too early to know anything beyond that. Liverpool will, and Liverpool supporters will really want to do everything they can send their love and send their support to Jota, but and his family, and the same for André Silva as well. But I think right now this is just going to be a football club, a city, coming to terms with unimaginable tragedy.
Absolutely. Well said. And all of us will be doing the same as well. James, thanks for taking the time to join us today. His club team, Liverpool, put out this statement this morning saying Liverpool Football Club are devastated by the tragic passing of Diogo Jota. The club have been informed the 28-year-old has passed away following a road traffic accident in Spain, along with his brother, André. Liverpool FC will be making no further comment at this time. UEFA also put out a statement saying, on behalf of the European football community, we are deeply saddened to learn of the tragic passing of Diogo Jota, Portugal international and Liverpool FC forward, along with his brother, André Silva. Our thoughts are with their family, friends, teammates, and all those affected by this heartbreaking loss. Guillem Balagué, our CBS Sports football reporter, joins us now. Guillem, what more do you know about this tragic situation?
It's bad because it has shocked us all, the age of both players and the circumstances, which suggests terrible, terrible bad luck. This was in a road in the province of Zamora, not far from Portugal, in a dual carriageway. Two roads that were in a straight line, basically, and it seems like Diogo Jota tried to overtake another car, and his tire blew up. There was a puncture or something similar. They crashed on the side, and then the car went on flames, and that was it. It was instant. The fire workers came almost immediately, and there was nothing to do, and that's the circumstances of it. It could really have happened to anyone. You start looking at these accidents and how many people die in the roads in Spain is 1,400 people every year, and in most cases, in circumstances like this, nobody's fault, just terrible, terrible bad luck.
Yeah, Guillem, it's so tragic, and when you also just consider where Diogo Jota is at in his life right now, coming off of a Premier League title with Liverpool, winning UEFA Nations League with Portugal, getting married just 10 days ago, has 3 young kids. I mean, how do you just put into words who Diogo Jota was, both on and off the field, and this time in his life that just seemed to be at its absolute peak?
I think perhaps the wisest words have been heard from Cristiano Ronaldo. It just doesn't make sense. And we insist on the idea of putting narrative to absolutely everything. And obviously, we're to blame for it. We need to tell the story of players and games and results in a way that everybody understands it, with beginning and end, with crisis, with personalities. But when a life like this gets cut so short, it just makes no sense. As you said, he was at the peak of his career. Professionally, he knew his limits, but he knew his strengths as well. And at 28, there was still a lot to come from him. Understood that when Liverpool was also picking and on the way to the title, that he wasn't a regular, but every time he came on, he made a difference. That has always been the case from him from the beginning, from Paços de Ferreira, where it took him almost a year to start his first game with them when he was a youngster. Then Atletico Madrid didn't give him the chance really to shine. He only played a friendly, and he was moved on to Porto. I think it helped here the fact that his agent is Jorge Mendes, who knows all those top Portuguese teams, and of course Atletico Madrid, close to Atletico Madrid, and Wolves, which is where he went next, from 7 million to Atletico Madrid to 40 million sold to Wolves, and eventually 45 million pounds. I'm talking about what's that, $50 million moved to Liverpool, where he started winning titles, and he was a crucial part of it. You move to Portugal and you get the same story. Somebody who was there in the both Nations Leagues wins in 2019 and this summer, who was crucial to Roberto Martinez in ways that perhaps we did not see. Obviously, he was important for the team on the pitch, but off the pitch, it's been described to me as the oil that made the machine work, especially in previous periods with Fernando Santos in charge. There were different groups in the Portugal camp, and he just belonged to all of them. He was a joy to be with. He was always somebody happy, and somebody that had a lot of respect for hierarchies and for Cristiano, as Cristiano has said himself. And it's one of those clogs in the machine that makes everything work. And this was very clear with Portugal, different role with Liverpool, but still, you look around, there's no one single complaint about his performances or his attitude, whatever the responsibility of the time was.
Yeah, Guillem, well said. Well said. Just looking at his career with Liverpool in particular and looking at it through that lens and just what he's contributed. He was part of 3 trophies with the club. You touched on who he kind of was personality-wise. I mean, what more can you tell us about him as a person and how that trickled into the footballing side, how he's being remembered in the countless tributes that we're already seeing?
Obviously, when you cost about £44 million, which perhaps it doesn't sound a lot, but he was a kind of an untested player, had helped Wolves to win the championship and impressed in the Premier League as well. Comes to Liverpool, not as the most expensive player, but Liverpool is not a club that spends a lot of money, so they have to identify the talent that works with what it was at the time, a rock and roll football, if you like, with Jürgen Klopp, which had to do with, of course, breaking with pace, but reacting immediately when you lose the ball. A lot of energy usage, and within that format. What Arne Slot had very, very clear when he came to Liverpool is that, number one, he was going to change the style because the Liverpool spent too much energy. There was too much lack of control, if you like. And then he put in practice what it is, the predominant model of our times, more control, more positional football. And Diogo Jota was one of the players that thrive in those completely different environments. Not everybody fit in, but he certainly did. And as I said, at 28, we'd only seen how good he could be to this point, but with the possibility of growing, because as a Portuguese player, which he shows more often with the Portugal national side, he's somebody that's able in small spaces to control the ball, to find a little bit of pause, but to accelerate if it's necessary. So perfect player for both Portugal, Liverpool, and for these times.
Guillem, you touched on it a little bit, just how important and how loved he was by all the Portugal players, staff, even Liverpool. But just how important was he in the locker room with them players and staff members?
So it was the kind of, for what I've been talking to some people that have been in changing rooms with Diogo Jota this morning. He's had all kinds of managers. Nuno, for instance, who was his manager at Wolves, shared that space with the likes of Pablo Sarabia, Spanish player as well. And they all say the same, just easy to be with. When you have 25 players with their own moms and dads and problems and families, managers tend to obviously dedicate more time to those that need it. Well, there was no high maintenance in the case of Diogo Jota. Easy to be with, and with a sense of where there were problems and what he could do about it. So even though he wasn't a captain, he had that kind of good relationship with everyone, and there was a lot of people that will come to him to help. That's the type of person I've been described as him being, and that is, that very well. That's so important to have players that have got the least amount of ego, not completely egoless, of course, but the least amount of ego, and who adapts very well to whatever circumstances. So every obstacle that he found along the way, going to Atletico Madrid and not being able to play, he shined at Porto on loan, but didn't know what was going to happen. Came back to Atletico Madrid, was sold to Wolves in the Championship. So you're talking Atletico Madrid, Porto, top of the table in the first division, goes to the Championship, perhaps a step back, and still felt, I can do this. And as Nuno says privately, he adapted so well to the club, to the circumstances, and that is the type of personality you want to have in the changing room.
Guillem, You'll Never Walk Alone by Liverpool fans says, at the end of the storm, there's a golden sky. And if there ever is a fan base that rallies around tragedy and finds strength in mourning together, collectively, and responding and showing that faith and that support towards, be it a player, a group of supporters, it's Liverpool. With your extensive coverage and being around the game, how do you expect Liverpool Football Club to respond amid such tragedy?
I think generally football is very good in these circumstances. It's left us all in shock when we start getting the notifications and we start ringing around to confirm. We just cannot believe it. But straight away is going to be a minute silence in the Club World Cup. Of course, you could see flower arrangements and homages around Anfield already. The club has put a statement out, and you're absolutely right in what you say. Tragedies in Liverpool is not something that obviously they're happy to have, but when it happens, they don't hide from it, and in fact, they gather strength and collective strength from it in a way that perhaps it doesn't happen in other places, or at least not as visible. They are happy to, as the song says, they are happy to go through all this together. And what else can you say about a club that has known tragedy more than most?
Yeah, and Guillem, this is really something that has just affected all of world football, and I can't even imagine right now what the teammates and the close people to Diogo Jota and his brother are experiencing right now. And one of those individuals is, of course, the former manager of this Liverpool side, Jürgen Klopp, who just made this post moments ago. And his caption reads, "This is a moment where I struggle. There must be a bigger purpose, but I can't see it. I'm heartbroken to hear about the passing of Diogo and his brother, André. Diogo was not only a fantastic player, but also a great friend, a loving and caring husband and father. We will miss you so much. All my prayers, thoughts, and power to his wife, the kids, the family, the friends, and everyone who loved him. Rest in peace. Love, Jay." What's your reaction to seeing the words from Jürgen Klopp?
He's a manager. A manager spends all their life in the profession to try and to control matters, to shape them to their wishes, to perform the magic so eventually everybody, a collective, acts in the way that he wants to. And it's not the first manager, it won't be the last. I will hear from others, I'm sure, where the impact tends to be really deep because they cannot control this. There is absolutely nothing in the script that says that this is going to happen. In the case of the players, I imagine, if you want to make a quick look to their psychological profile, these are people that are going to live forever. These are people that are at the top of the tree, that physically they are strong, that they don't feel anything apart from perhaps injuries, that at the end it's so far away. There's a first end to arrive, which is the end of a career, and then further down the line, completely out of their minds, is the complete end. So for that to happen in the same room where they get changed, and to have a gap from somebody that was close to them and they would message with, and they will be in the WhatsApp groups, it will be completely incomprehensible. So it's obviously the ones who are going to receive the biggest shock, alongside the family and his wife and his kids, of course. And you have to understand where that comes from.
Yeah, Guillem, well said. And thank you so much for taking the time to join us today to talk more on just this devastating news this morning.
Thank you.